So a question that gets asked a lot is a lean startup a cheap startup? And this question leads to a lot of misconceptions about lean. Understandable, obviously, because of the choice of wording. But really, lean has to do with what I think of as sort of this pivotal moment, right? Where you validate your idea, your hypothesis, whatever you thought about your company. And most of the times that question is, do people want X, right, that I'm selling? And there's a moment when you validate that, right? So whether you release a product and it gets 100,000 downloads, or people start paying you for a service, there's that moment of validation, and some people call it product market fit. But it's all the same thing. It really boils down to knowing whether people want the thing that you're making or selling, right? And lean startup is all about sort of what comes before this moment, right? And it's teaching you to build these sort of small versions of the product, the minimum viable product, that you can get to very, very quickly to this sort of validation point. And what that means is that once you reach that validation point, once you reach product market fit, then you stop being efficient, you stop being frugal, and you spend money, right, to scale the product. So you go from small to very big, and you also spend to scale the business. So you hire salespeople, you hire marketing and PR, and you spend money because you know that they're going to return or give you a return on the investment, right? Whereas before the validation point, you don't know whether the $1,000 you spend or the $10,000 you spend will amount to anything at the end, because if your product fails, then everything fails, right? So this is a very key moment that happens, and a lot of the lean startup-minded companies make this kind of inherent switch between being frugal and being efficient and getting to this point to once you hit this point, getting really big, right? But that's not the whole story either, because what people don't realize is even before the validation point, even at this sort of uncertain, getting to a hypothesis, getting to validation level, some companies, some ideas really do need to spend money to get to that point, right? Not every startup can be validated with, a landing page or a survey or whatever you use to kind of hack your way into validation. Some companies some products need to be built in some way, right? So think, I don't know, if you're building a semiconductor company, right? You couldn't just sort of put that on paper, show it to people and say, is this a great product or not? Do you want to buy this or not? You need to actually build the thing that you're saying you're going to build very well. You need to show that you can build it very well. What about a company like, Twitter, right? Much smaller scale product, but still very hard to get validation before building the actual thing, right? So all these tricks that you can use to get to validation, get to sort of knowing that whether your product will succeed or not, they're useful, but they're definitely not applicable to every situation. And these cases where you need to build something or you need to actually invest in something to get to validation, these will sometimes take money. So with Twitter, it probably took, not that much money, but with Intel, with other semiconductor companies, took probably a lot of money to get to this validation point. So whether it's before product market fit or after product market fit, lean startups are not necessarily cheap startups.